team here, and that is the New England Patriots, as we're getting a little tight on time here, so I want to keep you guys on track so we can fit everything in here. So the New England Patriots, they obviously had a down season last year. Tom Brady was no longer at the helm. Cam Newton kind of did his thing for the first 3 or 4 weeks and then fell off the face of the earth. So, Luke G., I'm going to kick it to you first here. What's the overall record for the New England Patriots this season?
So this is the team that I think makes the biggest jump. I cold-heartedly believe they're going to make the biggest jump, and I have them at 12-5.
Wow.
So here's a team that last year somehow was, I'm pretty sure that this was all planned. They strategically had a lot of people opt out. They had a number of injuries on top of those opt-outs, and their starting quarterback, Cam Newton, ended up getting COVID, which he himself admitted threw him back behind the 8 ball because he had to sit out that entire time and then get back into rhythm. With us now being more aware of what COVID is and how to handle it and how to quarantine and get things going, I don't see that being an issue for him. But the biggest part is what they did in the offseason. They went full out, balls to the wall, and got everything you can need to improve upon the defense, improve upon the offense, improve upon the run game, improve upon the pass game. They're already talking to themselves about trying to take Julio Jones. This is a team that I think strategically did things to set themselves up to get back into the driver's seat because they just wanted to be high enough to get a draft pick.
Yeah, and with everything that they did last season, they were still 7-9. So they literally had all second-string defensive players, and they're still 7-9 on the season. So, Tori, what do you have the Patriots' overall record this season?
So, roster as is right now, I have them going 9-8. They add Julio, that's an automatic 3 more wins to that roster. So I basically their floor is 9-8. Their ceiling is probably 12-5 in my book. Like they said, if they get Julio, which potentially could happen, since we know he's not going to Green Bay when Ultra Weed Hater got us this morning.
Yeah, he
did. So, if they add Julio, a weapon of that caliber in that offense is going to do miracles for everybody around. There again, Julio is just one of those players that automatically makes everybody around him better. So,
right. And what was your record again? I'm sorry, I forgot to write that down.
I have him at 9-8 currently.
9-8, and Luke G had him at 12-4, right?
12-5.
12-5.
17
right.
games. Yep.
Yeah, 12-5. So I had them actually going 10-7. So originally, when I first did the breakdown, I had them at 8-9. But then looking back on it and kind of playing some games out in my head, I picked up an extra 2 games for them, giving a 10-7 game here. One game that I have circled is that Week 7 game versus the New York Jets when the Jets are coming off of the bye and they come into New England, and I think the Jets upset New England that particular game. And that pisses Bill Belichick off, and that is when the Patriots start to roll and start to click on the season. Tori, what game do you have circled on the schedule?
Oh, Week 4, Brady Bowl. Brady goes back to Foxborough. Like, tickets right now are insane for that game. I think that the Patriots give them one heck of a run for their money in that game because they know every single tendency that Tom Brady has.
Right.
So I actually have them losing this game, but I barely have them losing this game. I think they come out and they punch Tampa Bay in the mouth, and Tampa Bay barely hangs on.
Wow, and I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers blowing them out in that game. I think Tom Brady has a lot to prove in that particular game. Luke, what game do you have circled?
Again, I hate to sound like a repeating drum, but listen, I got the Week 13 on the road against Buffalo.
Yeah.
Again, you figure this is a team that's starting to come up. They definitely have put them on notice in terms of being a better team. And the biggest part of it is they get a bye week 14. And if you are already struggling and you're talking about it's December and you don't get that win on the road, and now you're talking about the other part of your schedule where you still got to come home to play them. You still got to play Miami on the road and the Colts on the road. It's just not looking too good for you in that little bitty stretch, in my opinion. Yeah. So that, first of all, great bye week for them, but it's a great way to go into that bye week, get people rested and get ready for the playoffs. If you take a loss there and now you come on the road off of that bye week and play the Colts and take a loss, we got a problem. So that's the game I got circled. However, I'm giving them the slight edge to beat the Bills, just a slight edge.
Okay. So you do have them winning that Week 13 game over the Buffalo Bills. Tori, I'm assuming you had the Buffalo Bills since you had them going like 15-2, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I actually had the Buffalo Bills winning that game as well. So Luke G brought up a great point here. The second half of the New England Patriots schedule, that's kind of a gauntlet, guys. I mean, they play the Bills twice in like a month. They play the Colts, and then they travel to Miami, where historically they lose almost all the time for whatever reason. So is is what part of their season, guys, is it, like, do they have to like really hammer out some wins so they can get through that gauntlet of like a 500 schedule and still make the playoffs? Tori?
So I've got the week 6 through 9 stretch. I actually have them going 3-1 in that stretch. So I have them beating the Cowboys, I have them beating the Jets, I have them losing to the Chargers, and then I have them beating the Patriots. To me, if they want to make the playoffs, they have to take that stretch and they have to keep going 3-1. After that, if they take down the uh, Browns at home in week 10, that's just going to pad things for them. And there again, like everything could change if it breaks and that they actually did get Julio.
Wow, you had them
So
going 3-1 that stretch. I actually had them going 1-3 and 3 in that stretch. I do have them beating the Dallas Cowboys, but losing to the Jets, Chargers, and Panthers. So that's kind of intriguing to me that we're like almost polar opposites on that. So Tori, who is your MVP for the New England Patriots this season?
mm, whatever running back they have,
With
their whole
yeah.
run, their whole. You might as well say their whole running back core, just because Belichick is the master of
Yeah.
knowing who to put in what situation. He just knows his guys' tendencies of who to start and who to use against which opponent. He is really, really good that way. As much as I like to say anything good about Belichick, he is amazing that way to know to put his players in the best position to succeed against whoever they're playing. So honestly, for me, it's their running back core.
So the whole court, Luke G. What about you?
Okay, so I can follow his logic and seeing that it's going to be the running back core, but I'm going to go on the other end of it to the defense. I think the MVP is somebody who they just added, who came off a really good season with Baltimore, and I think they are expecting him to keep that up. I think it could be Matt Judon.
Okay.
I just feel like Matt Judon being able to not have to be the focal point when you got a Dante Hightower, a Kyle Van Noy, you got Bentley. It sets you up perfectly to do some things. So yeah, I can see that being the case for them, where Matt Judon is the guy that ends up being a huge leaps and bound contributor for the New England success.
And I feel like I'm gonna go the easy route here, because usually I pick up a defensive player or a receiver, but I gotta stick with the quarterback. I gotta go with Cam Newton. I think Cam Newton has to start off hot this season. He has to start off 3 or 4-0 this season, and basically say, this is my team. Sorry, Mac. Sorry, Mac. You're going to sit this year on the bench, learn, and I'll teach you. But this is my team. So basically, Cam Newton has to have an MVP caliber season for them to go 10-7 in my eyes, because I don't think Mac Jones is NFL ready, and if they put him in too early, we are looking at another Mitchell Trubisky situation in New England. I think Bill Belichick is smart enough to understand that. So hopefully, if Cam Newton does happen to go down, you put in a Jared Stidham or a Brian Hoyer, which they both like they all have on the roster. So let's